Recess the December 9th, 2008 meeting of the Monroe County Legislature and convene the Pure Water Administrative Board for the Gates, Tri and Stewart District, the Winding Bay South Central Pure Water District, the Rochester Pure Water District, and the Northwest Quadrant Pure Water District regarding referral number 080323 for the purpose of establishing a scale of charges for each district. If there's no objection, we will move this with one motion to lift from the table, one vote, and one motion to adopt all districts with one vote. The clerk will see to it that the individual motions and resolution numbers are assigned for each district. Will the clerk please call, please note the attendance and...
Mr. President, I have no objection to moving, lifting from the table with one vote, but could we do the adoption with separate votes, please?
Fine.
Thank you.
Clerk, will you please note attendance and call the first item on the agenda.
We have agenda items 1, 3, 5, and 7.
Move it, Mr. President.
Moved by Legislator Cassetti, second by Legislator LaFountain. Lift this from the table. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
We have 2, referral 080323, providing that resolution.
Move it, Mr. President.
Moved by Legislator Cassetti, second by Legislator LaFountain. This is the Gates, Tri and Sewer District. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
We have 4, referral 080323, providing that resolution.
Move it, Mr. President. Second.
Moved by Legislator Cassetti, second by Legislator LaFountain. This is the Northwest Quadrant Pure Water District. Any discussion on this item? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
We have number 6, referral 080323.
Move it, Mr. President. Second.
Moved by Legislator Cassetti, second by Legislator LaFountain. This is the Monroe Bay South Central Pure Water District. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
We have number 8, referral 080323.
Move it, Mr. President. Second.
Moved by Legislator Cassetti, second by Legislator LaFountain. This is the Rochester Pure Water District. Any discussion on this motion? Legislator Haynes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise to offer an amendment to the introductory.
Is the mic, can you pull your mic up?
Mr. President, I rise to offer an amendment to reduce the capital charge rate for the Rochester Pure Waters District from $1.34 per thousand assessed value to $1.07 per $1,000 of assessed value. This is a reduction of 27 cents or 20%, the 20% amounting to revenue of about $2,109,000. If, when seconded, I'll speak to the amendment.
Second that, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I sincerely and with very good faith offer this amendment to the legislature. For very natural reasons, the City Pure Waters District has been accumulating significant surplus funds over the last few years. For example, at the end of 2005, the City Pure Waters District had an unrestricted fund balance of $9,179,000. A year later, at the end of December 2006, that unrestricted fund balance had grown to $12,229,000. And a year later, at December 31st, 2007, that unrestricted fund balance had grown to $17,000,000. $676,000. This unrestricted fund balance, Mr. President, represented 34.5% of the operating expenses of the City Pure Waters District. The budget book for the pages for the Pure Waters operation state that it is the county's goal to maintain fund balances of between 10 and 25% of operating budgets. So at the end of last year, the fund balance of the City Pure Waters District was well above the top of the range for what our goal was for maintaining fund balances in the Pure Waters districts. The reason this has occurred, and I said a moment ago that it has occurred for very natural reasons, Mr. President, is because back in the 1970s and 1980s, and I realize there aren't many in the chamber who would remember that, other than myself, the rates charged for the Rochester Pure Waters District went through a period of years in which they were going up by 10, 12, and more % per year. The reason for that was the very significant borrowing that was done, hundreds of millions of dollars of borrowing that was done for the CSOAP project, the Consolidated Sewer Overflow Abatement Project, which some people refer to as the Deep Tunnel Project, which was really an astounding engineering feat. 30 years or so have now passed since those hundreds of millions of dollars of borrowing were done. And most, if not all, of the borrowing that was done to pay for the CSOAP project has been paid off. Therefore, it is most appropriate, I submit, Mr. President, that the rates that were raised materially year after year in the 70s and 80s because the debt service was going up tremendously because of the borrowing for the CSOAP project, that the rate should now be reversed and be lowered now that the tremendous debt burden that was incurred for the CSOAP project has largely, if not entirely, been paid off. Thus, in very good faith, and I've made this before, this amendment before, Mr. President, but in very good faith, I request that the legislature lower the rate for the Rochester Pure Waters District. We no longer need the money that it is generating. The money is merely accumulating in fund balances at the rate of several $1 million a year, and I would sincerely request that we lower the rate to halt that increase in accumulation of money and give the taxpayers a break. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Legislator Walker.
I appreciate Legislator Haney's sincerity on this issue, and I don't doubt it one iota. This is, as he mentioned, an amendment that's offered perennially, and the perennial reason that the amendment fails is because the infrastructure in the city water system is certainly an issue that needs to be considered. It's going to be expensive someday to correct that problem. I think that the fact that there's an unrestricted fund balance that allows for service to that infrastructure is reasonable. Therefore, I intend to vote no against this amendment.
Further discussion? Mr. Haney?
Mr. President, I would only point out, indeed, I respect the majority leader's position that at some point the city sewer system probably will require significant work. However, that someday is not today. And I would further point out that in the last 3 years, the amount of cash, cold cash, that the City Pure Waters District is holding on to at the end of the year has increased from $6 million to $7 million until last year it was $11,825,000. As the late President Ronald Reagan used to say, Miss